Okay, so I will do the intro first. Very good morning to our respectable speaker and also our guest, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin, we would like to remind you to mute your microphone. Thank you. And as for UTAR students, please do not forget to sign in your attendance in order to obtain the soft skills points. The Google Form link has been posted on the Zoom group chat. Please check. We will close the link 20 minutes after the talk starts. All right. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you. Today, UTAR is honored to have Chris Tan with us. Chris is a practicing lawyer since year 2000 and is currently the managing partner of ChurAssociates. He founded ChurAssociates in 2003, a boutique legal service provider delivering business-friendly solutions for its clients on a niche positioning from corporate advisory to everything real estate, serving the entire value chain, including civil litigation. As a corporate real estate lawyer, his expertise includes advising strata-related issues for government-linked companies, properties developers, assets owners, and REITs. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us start off the session by welcoming the speaker of the day, Chris.
Right, thanks, Joyce. If you are here, the way you welcome me is that you can go to the chat panel there, give me a 1. So if you give me a 1, basically I know that you're here and treat it as your applause to me. Thank you very much. I can see some of you already starting. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in this morning. I hope I'll make this 1 hour sharing as useful as possible to you. Basically, I'm thinking that Malaysia today is in what we call movement control order. Which is the MCO. As we know that, for all intent and purposes, our MCO is supposed to target to end by 28th of April this month, which is probably a week away. So I'm highlighting to you is that as far as we're concerned, that we're looking at Singapore, who have just announced yesterday, instead of 1 day, instead of until 4th of May, they are now extended until 1st of June. So we don't know whether it will actually extend or not, but we can certainly draw some experience here and there. So today, I know I'm a practicing lawyer and do this because I've done a lot of work in China, especially in Shanghai. I have a lot of associates there, so I've decided to do this sharing so that we can get every one of you here to prepare the new normal after the movement control order imposed in Malaysia. So shall we move to the next slide? Right, so basically, my name is Chris Tan. I'm a managing partner of ChurAssociates and it's a law firm. And I provide a lot of consultancy. And if you see me around, if you just Google my name, you can see plenty of sharing I have and articles that I've written as well. Mainly on real estate issue, but I see myself as a corporate practitioner. So I advise also a lot of corporate clients in relation to what to do. And I'm also an NLP, neuro-linguistic programming trainer on my own. So I'm actually a student of communication. So therefore, when you look at MCO, communication have never been so important. So what I'm highlighting today is that, once on the 29th of April, let's say everything goes well, the whole idea is that what will happen on the 29th of April? One thing I can tell you for sure, it's not going to be party straight away. All right, so let's start our presentation. Hopefully that you can actually bring back these things at the back. So one of the things that's been disrupted us as a firm, ChurAssociates, just to highlight to you, is that we used to have this, every quarterly we have one thing called the client appreciation networking. So in ChurAssociates, what we do typically is that we'll invite speakers and to come and share within an hour, just like what you're doing now through this UTAR platform. And then we will provide food, we'll provide drinks, and then we'll ensure that the topic is useful for everyone. And then it's also important that we will also make sure we have mingling after that, networking. So the whole idea about this has been disrupted because we need to be movement control and then social distancing. So as a result of this, we move to the next slide. As a result of this, we have come up to our very first CAN event. So the CAN event, what happened is that we used to call it CAN event called the CAN. Basically, it's Client Appreciation Networking, so we call it CAN event. And that's also because we are the firm that we call ourselves CA, CAN. So CA, very first CAN event online because of MCO. So I thought to make MCO even more relevant and whatever, so I have invited my good friend from China, and he's actually a Malaysian, but he's been there for the last 12 years. His name is Mr. Pavel Tan, who is also my client as well, my good friend and our associate in a way. They are in HR consulting. So what happened is that Pavel actually have shared with us on the 9th of April when we do our CAN event. As a result of this, we want to know what is the after effect when life returned to a new normal. So this is a first-hand learning from China as it emerged from the lockdown. So I think this is important that I would like to share this with everyone. So we are sharing it the other day with all my client and close contact on a first-hand basis through Pavel. Now I'm sharing you my perspective for all intent and purposes as to what we learned from the entire sharing and what you as a participant of today's online session through this UTAR platform, what you're going to get back and what you're going to take away. So if you are still with me at the moment, can you give me a 3 on the comment? So we're going to start for all intent and purposes so that you are here. Let me have a 3 on the chat panel, because later, even if you have any questions, we're going to take in some questions as well. Please put your question in the chat panel so that we know how to address to you. All right, so let's make this as interactive as possible. Give me a 3 if you can hear me. All right, fine. So next is that what is the effect when life returns to a new normal? Let's put it this way. I think as everyone knows, if we talk about Malaysia, everything goes well. On the 29th of April, I can tell you it's not going to be the same as before 18th of March. So I want to tell you is that it's not going to be go back to the normal. It's not going to be do this. If you know about our latest national hero, Dr. Noh Hisham, in his many ways, he have said that we must prepare for a soft landing. So what do you mean by soft landing? What it means is that don't think that everything just switch back. It's not a Thanos snap straight away. So it's going to be very fast. It's going to be slowly, but surely. That's also a phase that he keep using and I keep using. So I'm saying to you is that we are going to go through these things right now. If you can see the topic there, I'm going to go through one by one. These are sharing by Pavel and what we can learn from China. And I think it's important for you to just hear me out. What did we learn from that? So, for example, we should know what happened on the day they opened. I think before we start, I think it's important to share with you some facts. I think it's important that we know where we are, why we need to learn this and whatnot. So I'm saying to you is Shanghai is the biggest city in China, right? I know Beijing is the capital, but the commercial capital of China is Shanghai. So relevantly, Shanghai in the context of US, if you want to put it, is actually the New York of US, and one of the biggest, highly populated, most populated, by the way, most populous city in the world. It's actually 24 million population in one city. Malaysia on its own is about 32 million, but that one city itself got 24 million. And over 50% of immigrant population is important, provincial and foreigner included. So my friend who's delivering this is actually a part of this, over 50%. So what we want to try you is that about some key facts that you need to know. January 23rd, 2020, quarantine started in Wuhan, right, in the Hebei province. The large cities are also shutting down one by one after that. So that's considered day 0. February 10, for all intended purposes, that was after Chinese New Year. Office allowed to open, but only verified employees can come back to work. So that's like day 18, right? February 10. And then on March 3rd, on day 40, right? A small F&B outlet are allowed to reopen with restricted hour capacity as well as everything else. And then on March 15, 2020, the malls, the park, and large F&B outlets are slowly reopening in day 52, right? In day 60, which is March 23rd, there's a more relaxed restriction to commercial building, but the schools remaining closed. But then what happened after that is interesting. March 28, 2020, the China closed border to all foreigner as imported cases arise. If you realize at the moment that is actually day 65. Now, Malaysia have actually closed our border for foreigner, only for returning Malaysian. But for all intent and purposes, China only do it only on day 65. So I'm saying to you, just put it in the right context. What is MCO in relation to this timeline? MCO, as far as today is concerned, if you calculate from 18th of March, today is actually day 35. So if it's day 35, for all intent and purposes, by 28th of April, we're supposed to be in day 42, right? So 29th of April, which is day 43, if you follow the timeline, basically that's only the time whereby the small F&B outlet are allowed to reopen and restricted hour and capacity, which is what we're doing in MCO anyway. By the way, the difference between MCO and the lockdown is that the lockdown is really quarantine in the house and really nothing can be happened. But an MCO, for all intents and purposes, there's still certain movement, just like how we can still go to supermarket and buy our stuff and buy our food, etc. So I think that is the timeline. In fact, let's go through the business by industry here. All right. All right. So I'm saying to you is that if you have any question, please feel free to use the chat chatbot, which is right next to you, and then share with everyone. And for all intent and purposes, if you have a certain idea as to certain summary that you find useful, please also record it in the chat board right next to it. So what I'm highlighting to you is very important. So I'm highlighting to you and look at the after effect. We look at the business by industry, the regulation, the impact of the stimulus program. Malaysia do have stimulus program as well. What's the context of employer-employee, human resources, internal restructuring, incubating the trend of communication is of very much importance. And after MCO, what happened? Crowd control, social distancing practices, major upcoming events in China and in the world, and also lubricate the crisis control technique. Basically, what do we do in relation to this? So let's start this very important thing by looking at the industry. I mean, I'm going to share this before I give you some of the idea that I have gathered in terms of the summary, but I think important for you to know is that in China, you look at manufacturing, you have to understand that in China, because they are producing 24 hours a day, non-stop and in big volume. So the idea about manufacturing in China is that there is no such thing as shift. They are 24-hour running. So for all intents and purposes, everything is just in time. So what do you mean by just in time? They will not be stocking up with the raw material, but they will be delivery just a few hours before you want to consume it. So there's a lot of just-in-time delivery happening. So as you can imagine, during the lockdown, not everyone can move as soon as possible. Therefore, even if you want to move 24 hours, it's not possible. So I'm saying to you is that inventory management is an issue. And then logistic is also a main factor. Because again, traveling, movement control and everything else is also an issue. So if you look at even after the business resume, as it is slowly opening up, just like what Dr. Nohisham has said, we want a soft landing, slowly but surely, which means that it's very hard to go back to 100% production. So I think it's very interesting just to tell you what happened in Malaysia in this context in terms of manufacturing, especially logistic. I can tell you logistic got an issue is because if in China we are expecting a supply of raw material on a just-in-time basis, then I'm highlighting to you is that there is a potential that we're gonna use this whole thing because of logistic is very important, because the value chain and where you deliver is very important. So I'm saying to you in Malaysia, for example, the shipments are keep coming in. The warehouse is still operating, but with limited capacity. So what happened is that there's a lot of stock up into the warehouse and it's almost in full and in brim because all the shipments still coming in. But the problem is to ship out from the warehouse is only limited time. So I can tell you from the whole MCO, as far as I can remember, for the 2 months that we are in this whole thing from March and April, they've only opened for 6 days to delivery out. So can you imagine, even if your raw material stuck in the port, it is very hard to deliver to the factory for production. Although I know that a lot of factories in Malaysia have already gotten the MITI special approval in relation to their operation on a limited capacity. But compare that to a courier service. So you can see the courier is moving at 100% capacity. In fact, what we're trying to tell you is that if the logistic is not there, the domino effect will be there. Now, number two, let's look at other industry. For example, online. So online service provider, designer, and IT. So what we call this, save for the homeschool education and also the online gaming. This is what we're trying to say during this lockdown period, during this MCO, it is thriving. But then online marketing is very bad because of the supply chain disruption. Even if you can sell, you can't deliver. What do you want to do? You have no stock. And this is not the time for you to talk about your Lazada, Zalora vendor, and this is not your Tianmao, your Taobao vendor. In that sense, basically, this is the time where you have to buy for essential needs. So a lot of spending is down. And then as professional, we'll look at it later in a different slide as well. So I'm saying to you, in the hospitality, to report to you, the occupancy rate 2019 in China is 58%. In 2020 February, is dropped by up to 14%. That's a huge drop in terms of hospitality. In relation to salary cut, they're looking at 20 to 50% between 4 to 6 months. And we don't have to go far to China. Let's look at Genting Berhad. Genting Berhad already yesterday start to announce that there's a pay cut with all their staff. All right. So the next thing is F&B and retail, mid-level and above. Why we use the word mid-level and above? Because the lower end can still survive because they are low cost and everything else. And I think it's important to let you know that the mid-level and above, 40% revenue reduction compared to last 2 and 3 quarters. And then the slow return, as there's again spending will be reduced because of our income being affected, and we are more sober in a way in our spending. Outlets mandated to keep capacity to 50 to 60%. So what I'm trying to highlight to you, F&B and retail, even they're open, they cannot straight away go back to 100% capacity. Just like how you line up outside a supermarket today, there's a need for social distancing. And also in bank, they cannot overcrowd the bank. So they will see that a lot of big lines are forming up outside the bank, outside the supermarket, just like F&B and retail moving forward in the new normal. And in the new normal, I'm just highlighting to you is on businesses. Again, one of the key things is that stimulus package. Let's move to stimulus package at the moment. Malaysia have announced 2 stimulus packages. The first one, 250B. The second one, another 10B. So we have 260B of stimulus package. A few things that's similar with China, I think is very important. There's banks are relaxing payment for 6 to 9 months. Malaysia have a 6-month moratorium. That's almost the same. And then they have lower benchmark to finance new stimulus loans and refinancing existing loan. So the bank are more willing to listen to you. So I'm saying to you, talk to your banker if you are a business owner. And very importantly, just to let you know, in China, a lot of banks are very proactive calling their customer and offer them certain facility to help them in this moment. I can tell you this is not happening in Malaysia, and perhaps they should consider this also. All right. And then it is also important, the indirect impact of the stimulus package is important to know. A few things is that while we are looking at a lot of things in China, there's also grant and subsidy to help certain industry, but in Malaysia, it's more like keeping your survivor. So I think that there's a little bit of different there. And it's also important to know that, you know, while there have been promises, I can say this, but the delivery, we still don't know whether it will have been smooth or not. So far, Malaysia has been good, but in China, because it's such a big country, delivery could be stalled. So very importantly, the measure are purely to stimulate the economy and keep business solvent. It will not replace the stimulate new business opportunity to come. And I think it's important that the essential thing, food must be on the table, roof must be over the head. So to the employer effect, I think it's what happened here is that as far as we're concerned, we know that there will be low demand, market will be bad. Apart from PPE, food and household product, the rest of the industry will be impacted. Cash flow will be impacted within 3 to 6 months because of reduced sales for sure. And even if there's reduced sales, there's also a problem about collection in terms of payment. So one thing in China, I think that's helping the employer that we are not doing yet is the reduction of the social security contribution. In China, they have run to reduce half of their so-called EPF contribution. So in Malaysia, that's not done yet, although it's done on the part of the employee, but not on the part of the employer. So I think this should be within the consideration as well. I think it's important to understand that from the employer point of view, it's always cash flow. The formula that I would like to share with anyone is that your customer plus your supplier equal your cash flow. So basically, employer are required to look at these things and see how you restructure to the best of your effect. Okay, production contract dispute. So for all intent and purposes, because of the manufacturing and whatever, you cannot meet the delivery, there's a lot of cancellation of production. So basically in China, they have this whole thing called the force majeure, which is the act of God interventions kind of certificate. And that about 8,000 have been issued. In Malaysia, we don't have this. And in Singapore, they have this whole idea about the COVID-19 Act, which is a law that try to intervene this disruption. So I'm saying to you is that perhaps Malaysia can learn from this and also do this so that we can protect the employer. Let's remember this thing. Why do we need to protect the employee? Because without the employer, the livelihood of the employee could be impacted. So like I said, what is the impact? And I also said this thing is that, not many people will also go to the court as a result of this because it will have a bigger impact. So next one on the employee. I want to highlight that, for all intents and purposes, employee have this few impact in a new effect. Number one is that they will hold on making decision in relation to whether they will go to any other places. In China, it's very normal. After the Chinese New Year, after the Lunar New Year, after the spring break, a lot of people are changing their job, all right, because that's in China. But now they will hold on to this position. They will no more push for the wage increase. In Shanghai, especially, every year increases between 15 to 20%, right? And now there's a movement to push to work from home and also push for in-house children education to be provided. And also what happened is that there is an encouragement by the employer to the employee to take advantage of a stimulus package. So basically, these are some of the positives in the employee effect. So on the human resources side, we want to highlight to you that a few things very simple. Everyone is working on the whole idea in China. Let's talk about less is more, right? This is the time for you to restructure your HR, and there's no more demand for what we are selling, and it may not be appropriate to sell it anymore. So we need to restructure the business, start internally. All right, lowering base salary, increase incentive, kind of ESOS model, and then there will be sectorial opening. Even in the office, there will be department opening one by one instead of one crowded in the whole happen. So just to let you know, even after 28th of April, Malaysia would be experiencing also a very slow warm up to the old normal. All right, unlikely to be business as usual. So I think very importantly, the trend in communication, the next one I want to highlight to you, the trend in communication is that right now, as we are doing this, we are no longer doing physical event. We're doing a lot more online events, just like why you are hearing me right now. Basically, you have intent, if all of you who are listening, give me a 2 if this is not the first time you hear a webinar, all right, during the MCO, which means that, this is the trend moving forward. So we keep doing Zoom at the moment. We keep doing a lot online where we WebEx, and we have also Microsoft Teams, which is what has been using at the moment. So I think it's very simple. Just to highlight to you, face-to-face meeting today is a luxury, right? So for all intents and purposes, the simple solution in Shanghai that we learned is that, a simple phone call, 15 minutes, that would be good enough. And everyone will be more honest. So that's the trend of communication right now. Let's hope that we do this on top. Set the expectation clearly. So I think what I want to highlight to you is that during the observation stage, what happened is that the KPI set in Shanghai is very interesting. I think everyone must know that Shanghai have set a KPI, or even the whole of China, is that if a city within 28 days, there is no new cases, then they can open up back to normal. And it's very tall order at the moment, because every day, once in a while, there's people who are, their new cases pop up here and there. But it's 28 days continuously happen only. It will allow for reopening back to the old normal. All right. So I'm saying to you is that at this moment, everyone is still wearing face masks as a sign to spread the whole conscious thing about zero spread. Okay, zero spread. Okay. So in relation to major upcoming event in China, as you know, in Shanghai especially, they have an F1. It's been cancelled, right? And of course, this year we have a lot of things like Shanghai always also have, for example, Fashion Week, everything are cancelled. They have all the big professional sport have been suspended and cancelled. So what happened is that these are all being pushed forward, right? As far as the lubricating and crisis control technique, at the end of the day, the whole idea is that slowly but surely. So now let me just take you through to the next slide. As to the 5 learning that is important in relation to this. So if you are hearing me, can you help me now? Now we are at 1. Can you please type a 1 and what is 1? 1 is basically called man lai. So you type in the chat box there 1 and then use the word man lai so that I know you are there. Basically, I'm saying to you is that these are the 5 learning. As I go through each learning, you must let me know about the learning, right? So I'm saying that if you're at 1 at the moment, let me highlight this very important summary. Okay, Man Lai, for all intents and purposes, just like last year, the best song ever for the year 2019 is Despacito. What does it mean? It means slowly. So what I'm highlighting to you is this. You cannot expect everything go back to normal straight away, right? Man Lai is an attitude to say that, you know, things will be warming up and slowly you'll get back. Like I said, even in the word of our DG of health control, they say soft landing, they say slowly but surely. Timing of economic rebound. The end of world as we know it, this is a reincarnation into a different form, but life goes on. Just to highlight to you, moving forward, a lot of things will be changing. The way we interact, we no longer gonna use the office like the way we use it. Work from home could be a trend, right? And just like to highlight to you, the metaphor that I'm using here is like this: how you got discharged after a major surgery. You are still under observation, everyone. All right, there's no turning back. So what I'm highlighting to you is that even if you got discharged from a major surgery, you're still under observation. And what I'm trying to highlight to you is that you still have to go and see your doctor and report on your reading, right? It's only after that you will then see what is the best thing that can happen to you and see whether you can go back to normal. At this moment, you still cannot eat like how you eat, and what the doctor didn't tell you, that there's no turning back to the old normal. So be prepared to that. You are part of the value chain. You have to wait for the rest to catch up. This is very important, huh? Because I'm highlighting to you is that even if you want to be fast, you cannot. You know why? Because for all intents and purposes, the rest of the supply chain is not fast enough for you yet. So I'm highlighting to you is that you have to catch up with the pace and see what you do at the meantime. All right. A good advice that we gather from that is get yourself through this year. I just want you to survive. All right. This survival of the fittest and come back stronger in 2021. So effectively, Vision 2020 set by our Tun Mahathir in 2020 is really, to me, it's a year to forget. All right. So let's go to the next slide. So start to get used to all the odd number years now for the global major event is you will never get even again. All right. Basically, I'm just highlighting to you, for example, your World Cup, your Olympic, your Euro, your Copa Americano, you know, as far as all this event will not be in the year of 2020, it will be 2021, right? So I'm saying to you is get used to it. It will be 2021, 2025, 2028, 2027, you know, this kind of number, right? So as you can see, perhaps the only major event this year will be presidential election. You can see Donald Trump there giving his daily record. Get used to this odd number, all right? And in my own signature words, I said slowly but surely, all right? So if you are here listening to me, type on the chat board slowly but surely. Let's expect, number one, Man Life, we should learn that we will have to act and react slowly but surely, all right? Let's get to the next important learning. Next. Honest communication will keep your business alive. Well, let's put it this way. We see that communication is very important right now moving forward. I'm recalling a conversation that I had with one of my close clients the other day during MCO. They are telling me, they said, hey, Chris, is it true that in China, a lot of people are closing down after they are locked down and because of this COVID-19? Then I say, yes, thousands and thousands of them. But then he asked me, if like that, we also want to close down, right? He said, can we not close down our business and come back again later? You know what my answer to him? My answer to him is very simple. You think it's easy to close down a business? The answer is no. Especially that are slightly bigger. So I think if you have only one staff, one company, and you're selling things online, it's easier to close down. Yes. But if you have 5, if you have 10, if you have 20, you have 50, you have 70, if you're 100, it's very hard to close down your business. So let's put it this way. A lot of people say, can't we just close down and declare bankrupt and everything else? Trust me, that's not your solution. It's not easy to close down a business. Number 2, business survival is the only concern, while justice and compliance are now a luxury. A lot of people come and see me during this time and say, because I'm a lawyer, they ask me for advice. Legally, can we do this? Can we deduct salary? Can we do these things? Can we not pay our client? Can we actually apply for force majeure in the contract and whatever? I'm saying to you is, yes, I can give you my stand, but I think I can tell you one thing is that it is all a luxury when we talk about law and justice, because even after the MCO ended, there will be a beeline at the court anyway. So I'm saying to you right now, your concern should be number 1, business survival. And how do you do that? Make sure there's honest communication. Learn to mediate and learn it fast. Survival of the fittest and live with what you can do without. All right. So this one I want to highlight to you is very important that you must know what would be your no regret expenses whereby you can do without. All right. So I'm saying to you is that if you're hearing me, can you type on the chat that says no regret expenses? I think it's important right now. Identify your no regret expenses, because for all intents and purposes, this will keep your business alive. Is there any no regret expenses that you can cut out, right? So what I'm highlighting to you is very important. Otherwise, you can see the sign there, the store is now closed forever, all right? So in the next slide, So you have to understand honest communication and open sharing of information are the key to business unusual. Never before communication been so important. Now it's very important. I can tell you one thing about social distancing. Social distancing get you and I closer, like it, right? So start with your own team and even your fiercest competitor inside out. What it means is that talk to your own people, talk to your small team, to your big team, to your stakeholder, right? Start talking now. This is the only thing that probably you cannot afford to be man life, right? We got time at this moment. Everyone got time to speak to you at this moment because, and everyone will start to be a little bit more honest and can say to you, no need to be fancy. Don't need to plan for a Zoom call. No need to go for a virtual. No need to see for face. Trust me, a good old phone call and start is always important. Pick up your phone, make a phone call, 15 minutes, get it clear, set the expectation. I think it's important in this communication. Before you start anything, set the expectation. And then we would know this instead of guessing. We don't have the luxury of communication like we have in our past, right? We need certain decisions to make fast, and let's set our expectation. So next slide. So you are with me now. We are on number 3. Type 3, if you think that this is you're already at 3, all right? Very important. This is the most important sharing out of the 5, right? 3 is the most important. Now, if you can, please also type in block thinking in the chat group. And then I want you to do this. This is one of the best learning that I learned from Shanghai in relation to this learning that we can do from the lockdown episode in Shanghai. Number 1, I want to highlight is that what is block thinking? Think Lego. Everyone know what Lego is, right? Yes, Lego is basically the block under there, the color block in the below, whereby you can build things, correct? So what does it mean by think Lego? What I'm trying to highlight to you is think block by block. What does it mean? Think block by block means this. Instead of taking the whole thing, you should take it one block at a time. You should look at one issue, and therefore, you should think through that issue and forget about other block how it fits first. All right. So what I'm going to highlight is that block thinking is important because you can isolate, you can have different combination, but you work on one block at a time. So the first thing is think Lego. Number two, think about our own Malaysian superhero, Chit-Chat Man. Right. So what do you mean by Chit-Chat Man? So I'm saying to you, you know what is Chit-Chat, right? The lizard, right? So one thing about lizard that's very good is that because for all intent and purposes, they would know how to detach their tail, right? Detach their tail, right? So when you say detach their tail means that, for example, there's a heavy object obstructing the movement. What the Chit-Chat will do will normally detach their tail. So I'm highlighting to you, business entrepreneurs, it's time for you to think block thinking is because you know why they can detach their tail? Because they can always grow back. That's what we mean by no regret operation and cost cutting. It's important. So for all intended purposes, you know why the Chit-Chat can afford to lose their tail is because they can afford to grow it back. So think about our very own superhero Chit-Chat Man and learn from it. So if you are a business at the moment, if something is blocking you, make sure you cut it off because it will eventually grow back. All right. So if you like the Chit-Chat metaphor, please type in Chit-Chat Man. All right. Detach the tail. Right. Put the past experience aside and not to delve into the fault and justification process. This is not the time for you to say who's right, who's wrong. Okay. As far as business is concerned, it's very easy to say, oh, you owe me a lot of money, you didn't pay me in the past, and you have wrong in this, your production has been slow. My idea to you is you should put that aside. That's what I mean by block, right? Learn from the manufacturing practice in China. Don't focus on the production of product, but deployment of the production line. We need to have new way of thinking. When you have a new way of thinking, you must therefore practice it. So in China, in Malaysia, we still stuck into that. No, how much can you produce? No. Over there is that I'm going to give you the entire production line. How much are you going to pay me for that? So once you change the whole idea will start to change as well. So I'm saying to you, for example, in relation to this, I want to say is that how do we ensure that you should start to think block thinking? All right, next slide. Let go of your old way of thinking and gain fresh perspective immediately that allowed you to move forward. In the Malaysia, we all know one very important proverb called sedikit what? Can you tell me the answer? In the chat board, sedikit what happened? So it's lama jadi bukit. So what does it mean? It means that at this moment we should do sedikit actually means it's block by block. It's block by block, right? All right? It's block by block. What happened to you is that you should start to think that whatever is in the past is past, let's start afresh. And then from here, let's see how we can survive this year. I think it's important, right? It's important to say that Rome is not even built in a day. And there's a lot of sacrifice in the process, including your tail, right? Remember Chit-Chat Man? You have to sacrifice your tail to keep your survivor. So the whole idea is Rome is not built in a day. You can see the Colosseum there. It's very impressive. But I'm highlighting to you is that it's all started by looking at block thinking. They also do column by column, brick by brick to build the Rome Colosseum. So I'm highlighting to you right now, if there's one thing that you should learn during these 5 things that's important, I think the first answer is that you should learn how to think in block. Next. All right, if you are in number 4, give me a 4 on the chat there. Give me a number 4 on the chat there, right? This is what happened is that what happened after the new normal, right? I can tell you, this is what happened to people generally after the whole MCO and lockdown and whole episode, right? This is what we call the new normal. So people will be more motivated. You know why? After locking themselves in the house for more than a month, I can tell you everyone is very motivated. The last thing I want right now is retirement. I have experienced retirement. I probably resolved that I don't want to have retirement for life. Right? I'm saying to you, we are more motivated with the come out and do something, right? Because we are social anymore. Number 2, we also know that our options are limited right now. Last time it used to be say the world is my oyster. Today you can't even travel. So can't even travel. What do you mean by the world is your oyster? It's the online world as an oyster. Therefore, you have to play within the rules and know that you have no more the last abundance that you used to have. And then people will be generally open to new tasks and learning new skill. You know why? Because your old skill and your old task is no longer relevant. It's no longer relevant. I think that's important, right? And you have to work harder than before. You have to work harder than before. So I'm highlighting to you is that people will generally say that we're more willing to work harder than before because they know what is the impact of this. We have taken things for granted, right? And there is improved tolerance level. What we observe in Shanghai, I think very likely will happen here is that people are more tolerant. Last time, because Shanghai is one of the fastest city in the world, so everything, if you are not instantaneous, if you didn't respond straight away, they will be very demanding. All right. Now they are very tolerant, right? So we will probably expect that as well. Less demanding in instantaneous and respond and gratification is also very important. Like last time, if I email you or WhatsApp you and I expect immediate response, but right now probably slower. I think it's also interesting to know that we start to read our thing more clearer instead of rushing through life, right? And generally, after the lockdown, after the MCO, we are generally nicer to each other. I think that's important. We become friendlier, right? That's happening in Shanghai, and I expect it to be same in Malaysia. Hello? Can I see my slide back? What happened? Sorry, there's an interruption here. Pansy, how do I join it back?
You still here? I still see the slide. Maybe you go and check your toolbar there.
Okay, fine. All right. So I see it back already. It's here. So I'm saying to you is that these are the trend in the new normal. So what do we do with it? So this is the best time. You look at number 4. The title of it is called Engagement for Reinvention. I can tell you, all these bubble that you can see on the screen right now are great for engagement. Can we go to the next slide? Perfect condition for business to engage internally for a reinvention of their existing business model based on your resources and network. Engage with your staff and frontliners, suppliers, stakeholder, bankers, customer, clients, to even your enemies. For example, changing your employee role from just wage earner to a stakeholder in your business on a project-to-project basis is a great reinvention to your old employment model. You can see that. Start talking to your banker. The banker is now your best friend, right? What I'm highlighting to you is this. This is the perfect condition for you to do business engagement. If you're not using it, then you can't really do it. So I'm saying to you, engage with your staff and frontliner to even your enemies right now, because these people are the best for any, and consider this. This is the time where you consolidate your resources. Merger, acquisition is ideal for you. It's time for you to merge with another party. So one of the ending quote I want to share with you is Ma Yun. Everyone know Jack Ma? Jack Ma know about, Jack Ma obviously is the founder of Alibaba, one of the richest men in the world. And he actually said one word I think is important that we can reminding ourselves. The answer is 心中无敌，治天下无敌. What do you mean? It means if you have no enemy, everyone is your friend. All right. So when you engage, everyone is your friend. So let's make everyone is your friend. In this time of challenging time, we need more friend than enemy. So remember, this is the perfect condition for engagement and for reinvention of your business model. Okay. So now we move to our last one. So if you are in our last one, can you give me a 5 again so that we know that you're with me? And number 5. And if you have any question, please use the chat box and ask me some question and I'll answer it as soon as I can. So number 1 is just, number 5, I want to highlight to you that whatever the government is doing is to keep your business alive, to see the recovery, ladies and gentlemen. It is not for you to keep your growth. I think it's important. We have our stimulus package 1 and then stimulus package number 2. Remember, we call it the pre-Hatin and all that. And we have our Prime Minister number 8, Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin, come and tell you, address you and how they do this, right? Obviously, he's one of the popular guy now who can even do rap, right? Kasana Kasini, right? Whatever your government is doing right now is only to keep your business survivor and not to keep your growth. It is still a promise. How this assistance will be channeled down to the ground and effectively is yet to be seen. We don't know yet. We don't know what will happen. But like I said, we are moving into this. So I want you to, number one is that your government assistance is not to keep your old lifestyle, but to keep you surviving. Next. So the bigger picture, as a business owner, you need to know about the bigger picture. You need to understand the scale of the problem as we are hit by multiple whammy of economic crisis now. I'm then tell you, I mean, in many forums, in many sharing, I already said this World War III, right? Why do I call it World War III? It's because this war is actually a war between different worlds, right? The world of the virus and the world of man, right? So I'm highlighting to you is that this is a world war of a different generation and everything is stopped, right? So this is no less than World War I and World War II. It's just that it's not people killing people, but virus kills people, right? And there is a long clinical recession accelerated to now. The overproduction of wasteful abundance, the technology is changing rapidly. The emergence of new world order whereby China are taking the lead right now. I'm saying to you, and US is no longer the leader, like it or not. And this pandemic, COVID-19, are paving the world to a new normal. There's a global affair faced by all humanity. And what happened yesterday? For the first time in the history of oil future, prices crashes to below US dollar zero, a barrel. What does it mean? I'm highlighting to you. Supposedly, what it means is that people are paying you to take their oil because what happens is that there's overproduction, there's storage issue. So I'm saying to you, can you imagine right now because of movement control and lockdown, we can't use even our oil. And I can tell you, our petrol price is cheaper than ever you can imagine. You can probably get a $50 full tank right now, right? So I'm telling to you is that one day, next time you want to earn money, very important, just bring your car and really go to the petrol station, they'll pay you. Of course, I meant it as a joke. But I'm saying to you is that that's what happened, this new normal, right? Whereby, can you imagine from the tip top 140 over dollar a barrel a few years ago, today we're looking at zero, right? Below zero a barrel. Okay, next. So I'm saying to you is that what are the business to watch in the new normal? I think it's important. This is the learning from Shanghai, and I think it's no different to Malaysia anyway. To keep your business growth, you must continue engage in self-help. I want to ask you one thing is very important. Like I said, number 5 is that the government is there to assist to keep your survival only, right? So governmental assistance. Chart out the resources and map out your opportunity vis-a-vis these thriving businesses. So what are the things we'll be thriving moving forward? Food, right? Daily household product, right? PPE. We should know what is PPE by now. PPE stands for personal protection equipment, all right? And then a few other things. Baby products. This time we only know that, children and baby are the most precious thing in life, and we will do everything to protect them. I think important also moving forward, there are certain business to watch in the new normal: online entertainment, gaming, streaming, content, right? As you know right now, everyone is watching and playing game online. And online learning is important. Education, for example, skill, health, leisure. People are doing yoga online. People are learning how to cook online. So we are now keeping ourselves through the online world. In a way, future is happening and unfolding and accelerating moving forward. I can tell you what, Jack Ma, in an interview yesterday, which I've gone through, he said that the last 10 years, probably the internet is making you a lot of money. I can tell you what he said. He said, moving forward after the COVID-19, right, internet is an essential. You have to survive on the internet, not to make money out of the internet. So what he's trying to tell you is that it's from luxury to become an essential item. This is what we learned from Jack Ma. So these are the business to watch. Why do I share this to you? Is because I want you to chart out your resources and map out your opportunity vis-a-vis this thriving business. And how do you chart out your resources? Let's look at the next slide. Right? So what I want to highlight to you, the opportunity in the new normal is this. We'll potentially gain even more population with the record-breaking new birth rate expected by the end of the year due to the prolonged lockdown at home, right? Nothing to do, or home big maybe, right? So I'm highlighting to you is that probably by end of this year, we're going to have a very interesting birth rate, and this is an interesting generation to serve with certainly new business opportunity if only you know how to capitalize on it, right? And I said to you, it's very important to keep your business survive 2020. Trend is trend, opportunity is opportunity. Next slide. And this is how we chart out your resources. And I think it's important to learn this. You can see the square box there. You have, use, don't have, don't use, right? Do it out. I want you to chart out your resources. What are the resources? Things that you can use, things that you have, right? What have been idle, what have been excess, what have things that you abandoned, what have been wasted, and what have been untapped and unutilized. You do this up. I encourage you, if you're a business owner, I want you to do this up and chart out your resources. Let me know that you will do this by giving me a 4. Basically saying that you will actually do this up and chart out your own resources to see that and match it against the trend. So I want you to do this up tonight as soon as possible. Give me a 4. And then I'm saying to you that you must learn how to chart out your resources. Basically what you should do. Once you chart out your resources, you need to do this. You should look at what you have, you use. Obviously, that's important. Next question is that you should look at the quadrant that said what you have and you don't use. My question is, what are you waiting for, right? And number 3, the third one that you should look at it is obviously what you have, what you use but you don't have. That's actually for you to match your partner. Do that, match that against the trend. That's important. All right, next slide. So these are the conclusions. Number 1, we must know that demand is no longer the same as before, right? So you have to learn to adjust to the new demand, right? A lot of our thing last time, the demand are actually a luxury, but today we should look at essential. And I'm saying to you, online is no longer a luxury, but online is essential, right? But you are not alone in dealing with this. I want to highlight to you that you are not alone in dealing with this because everyone else is facing the same problem. The world is facing this problem. You can be fast, but everyone else will slow you down. Time to consolidate and take count of what we have and start afresh with new approaches. It's important that we should look at new approaches, right? I must highlight to you, it's very important, right? Zero spread is a global movement right now, all right? We must make sure that we got zero spread. Next, right? Can we go back to the slide before? All right, you can see that what do we mean by here? You can see that, we used to wear red ribbon to showcase to fight against cancer. We wear yellow for birthday. There's a red nose day today. From even after MCO, please continue to put up your mask. And therefore, a mask is a sign within us. We understand we want zero spread. Because the last thing is that we don't want a rebound of the pandemic. And the next time when we are facing it, we must be more ready. So moving forward, one thing I think I learned from Jack Ma is say that internet is not a luxury. It's not going to make you rich, but it's essential. All right, thanks. Next, if you like our sharing for all intent and purposes, please go to our ChurAssociates Facebook page to like us, and you will be keep updated. A lot more sharing there. That's important. And number 2, next slide. You can share. You can also like me on my personal page at christan.my as well on my Facebook, and you can follow me. There's a lot of useful information there. And next, and you can always contact me at christan@ChurAssociates.com. All right. Now, if you are with me, if you are happy with my sharing and you find it useful, give me an 8. All right. Give me an 8 right now, and then I'm gonna do something for you before I end the presentation. Just give me an 8 to tell me that you are here, that you find the sharing useful. All right. All right, Pansy, can you post the link on the chat there to everyone so people can see, and we'll move to our next slide. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can see there is a link being shared right now under ChurAssociates to everyone on the chat board there. I want you to do this. I want to give you some takeaway from this session, all right? Because there's no point taking back like this. I want you to take it away as well. So I want you to do this. I want you to click through that link there, and then I want you to fill up the form online. This is what you have to do. And you'll receive a summary of today's presentation, the 5 points that I will share with you, and the slide to your email by today. Absolutely free, right? Absolutely free, right? And if you're happy with my offer to you in relation to this, if you're thankful, give me a 7. to show me that you're thankful for this. I want you to click through and show this, and you can take it back with you. Right? And if you're lucky, we will offer you a complimentary 30 minutes online consultation based on the answer that you have provided in your form. Right? Keep checking your mail. It might just be your lucky day. So I want you to do what? Number one, fill up the form, and you receive the slide and you receive the summary for free. That's number one. Number two, you might be just the lucky winners of a 30 minutes online consultation offered by me and my firm to support any of your issue during here and even post MCO, right? So with that, I'm ending my presentation here now, and I will go back, hand back the stage back to Joyce. And if you have any question, feel free to ask in the chat. And Joyce, if you have any question, I'm happy to answer as well.
All right. Thank you, Chris, for your valuable insight on what to expect after MCO. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's talk. We wish to thank Chris and also Miss Pansy for being with us today and sharing his expertise and knowledge with us. So there's a gentle reminder as well for UTAR students. Please remember to sign out your attendance so that in order for you to claim the USSDC points.
Okay.
All right. So that's all for today. Thank you so much, Chris.
All right. So we're gonna end the presentation now, right?
Yeah.
Hello?
So maybe 5 more minutes.
I remind everyone, just make sure you fill up the link and you can get those things for free, and we'll offer a 30-minute online consultation to you if you're lucky and selected. Thank you.
So any questions from the participants? No?
I think we can end here.
Okay, then we'll end here. Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.